now, something to look behind us. Obviously, the IPL's been and gone. It was a great 6 weeks of cricket. I mean, it had its ups and downs, 60 matches, and it was finished off with Mumbai Indians winning by 5 wickets. Obviously, the best side of the whole tournament. I mean, finished top of the table quite comfortably and demolished Delhi Capitals in the final. Deserved winners, but not a final. It's not like the World Cup final, which sort of was the pinnacle of all finals. It left something to be desired, didn't it? It was a bit of a boring conclusion and not really something that you want to finish a tournament like that off.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a shame that the final was such a blowout, one-sided final, because that is the pinnacle of limited overs cricket, in my opinion. The two best franchises going at it. I wouldn't say it's no. I'll rephrase that. It's the pinnacle of T20 cricket. The World Cup final, ODI is probably better. But no, it's just disappointment that it fizzled out. They were just too good on the day, weren't they?
No, absolutely. And they were the best side overall. I mean, you look at it and sort of the reason that they did so well is that they had sort of the two key areas, obviously batting and bowling in essence. Three of their top lads, Kishan, De Kock and Yadav, all finished in the top 7 in terms of runs scored. And then their bowling, they had both, obviously, one of the bowlers of the tournament, obviously, in Jasprit Bumrah and Trent Boult, both picking up 25 wickets plus between them. Trent Boult was a bit more expensive, but sort of it just showed you two key bowlers, two or three key batsmen, and sort of a real core to the side that a lot of other teams seem to be missing. And it's no wonder that they did so well. But moving away from the Mumbai Indians, obviously, lack of English interest really in that side.
Yeah.
If we look at the Rajasthan Royals and obviously Jofra Archer MVP, I mean, what a tournament for Jofra Archer.
Yeah, I mean, he's a bit special, isn't he? I mean, our first ever show, we were waxing lyrical about him when he just came in and absolutely slapped it about. And if you look at the company he's keeping in the top wickets, Rabada, like you said, he's top. Bumrah, Bolt, Naughty, Chahal, Rashid Khan, and Jofra Archer. I'd have any one of them opening the bowling for Night Riders on a Wednesday night. Put it that way, mate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But the impressive thing about it is that it's not only the way that Jofra Archer's collected wickets, and he has. I mean, he's behind obviously a few decent. There's 6 or 7 in front of him, but it's his economy rate that's the most impressive thing for me. I mean, you look at it in terms of all the seamers that are in the top 10. Only Jasprit Bumrah and him are going under 7s. Jofra Archer's going at 6.5, and you've got every game that I'd watch, you'd be watching it, and Jofra Archer would be 2 for 5 after 2 overs, or 1 for 5 after 2 overs.
Yeah,
and it's just sort of, I just thought that Rajasthan Royals missed a real trick by not bowling Archer 3 in the power play. It was very telling that even though Archer's probably gone at 2.5 and over and picked up a wicket or 2 in nearly every game, the opposition is still coming out at 9 and over, really. All the other bowlers are getting whacked. And I thought if Archer went for the difference between Archer at the death versus another player from obviously Rajasthan, be it a Ben Stokes or whoever else, one of the spinners, there's very limited difference, I felt, from the drop-off between Archer, who was still going at 10s and over as he does at the death, whereas someone might have gone for 14 maybe. So yeah, 4 runs, but that 12th, that pressure sort of seemed to get relieved at the top of the order. You look at some of the wickets he took, the wickets against David Warner and Bairstow and who's the young lad, whoever the young lad from Delhi Indians was. I remember he bowled in middle peg. I played against him 5 or 6 years ago. Priv Shaw, that's the name. Priv Shaw, obviously the doper. I remember sort of those wickets, some brilliant deliveries, and I just thought they relieved the pressure. But Archer MVP, I mean, I'm looking at it now, and he's around 20th on the highest paid list. I mean, he's not poor by any stretch. He's on $1 million. But you just think, you look at the sort of top of that tree, the likes of Virat Kohli, MS Dhoni, all on 2 millions. I think next season Jofra Archer will be his value will have increased, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Archer's not just the bowler that we all want him to be. And when he first came in England's shirt with that, that we've seen him through the ranks at Sussex a bit, and then we were all just hoping he is going to become this player that is now turning out to be. But for me, Archer, if you look at his economy, T20 dot ball, is invaluable in T20, and the only other player in the top sort of 10 that has an economy anywhere near him is Rashid Khan, a spinner. Now that is an unbelievable accolade to Archer's bowling, considering the size of the ground he's been bowling on and the speed of the balls he bowls. It is not, pace on the ball. It doesn't need a lot to go through, especially in the early overs where you've not got a lot of cover out there. But I just think he was. I mean, I don't know if you listened to Darren Gough a few weeks ago on Talk Sport going off about the Rajasthan Royals, and he's absolutely right. I mean, how on earth have they finished where they were, given the players they had at their disposal?
I mean, for me,
it's criminal.
Steve Smith is one of the best Test batsmen in the world. Probably for me, he's the best Test batsman ever in history. You look at the stats and sort of the churning of runs that he puts in and the impressive performances in big games, but he doesn't look comfortable in the T20. I mean, I looked at his stats earlier, and he has never been a prolific T20 run scorer. And obviously the likes of, you've got Butler, Stokes. I mean, I know Stokes missed the tournament, but I mean, Samson, and it was a crying shame because I think obviously Tom Curran was on the bench. It was a real sort of, if you're an English fan, cricketing fan, obviously with 4 English lads, I think they were all our chosen side, and it was too little, too late. They obviously lost the last game, but they won 3 or 4 on the bouts before that. But just on Archer, just finishing off the Archer discussion. I mean, I look at his strike rate. He's striking at 180 is his batting strike rate, which beggars belief because obviously he's batted like Stevie Wonder for England. I mean, I've got no idea where he's turned up. He's come out to Dubai, and obviously I don't know what they're feeding him, but he must be playing less Xbox and taking more batting practice. Really impressive. Obviously, I know he's not faced that many balls, but he's been giving it a whack. So hopefully it's something we can see in an English shirt from later on. But I was disappointed in Josh Butler, to be fair, for the tournament. I thought him and the other English players, obviously Moeen Ali never really got a go. And Chris Jordan was just appalling, I felt, throughout the tournament. I mean, he's really let himself down over the last few years. I mean, I remember him getting whacked in a final in 2016. I think it was Watson took him to the cleaners in that game. But hopefully he finds
Chris Jordan's Chris Jordan's an enigma though, because every team picks him, and I just wouldn't trust him at the death. But yet he gets to go every time, and I don't get it. He must just bowl well in the nets, or he must just convince the captain that he'll do it. But I've never actually come hand on heart. If I see Chris Jordan bowling at the death, 9 times out of 10 he's going for it. But on the batting front, I'm just looking at the stats now, and obviously you've got KL Rahul in a league of his own on sort of 670 runs, only in 14 innings, which is a phenomenal effort with that 132 not out. You've got the usual Shikhar Dhawan there, 17 innings, 618, and then best of the rest, Davey Warner. But you go down the list, and you have to go to 15 to find an England player, albeit from Dublin, called Owen Morgan, who's on 418 runs.
Yeah, no, the lad who doesn't know the English anthem. You look a bit further down, Johnny Bairstow is obviously there, averaging 32, strike rate of 126. I mean, obviously high score of 97. It was a bit of a weird one for Johnny because obviously he's got 350s in 11 performances, but he got dropped for the important games when obviously Sunrisers Hyderabad came 1 game away from the final, dropped Johnny Bairstow, and once they dropped him, they seemed to go on a bit of a run of form. I thought he was quite hard done by, to be fair. I mean, he's a pretty consistent performer in the IPL nowadays. Him and Warner sort of have had that partnership for 2 seasons, and for me, I was surprised that Johnny got dropped. I don't think he had a bad tournament, to be fair, but other than that, obviously Ben Stokes came in, didn't he? And he's averaged over 40 and he got 100, which was great to see. But he started poorly. That's what he expected. Took him a bit of time. But I tell you, the one lad who I was surprised with.
I was going to say, he's been stuck in his room for
ages.
For 3 months.
The one lad I was surprised with was Sam Curran. I mean, a bit of a bizarre one to be opening the batting. Sam Curran, a lad who bats 8 or 9 for England. I mean, he was in a poor side, obviously, with the CSK. But yeah, what do you think of Sam Curran? I mean, I thought he did all right, to be fair, to say he's an average bowler.
Yeah. I wouldn't say he's an average bowler. I just think that, he's just, unfortunately, he's a bowler where the conditions have to be right for it to work. And that's just the anomaly of cricket. I mean, some bowlers just bowl better in different conditions. The ball's got to be doing a bit for him. But I think he's a terrific cricketer. I think he plays the game in the right way. You can see he's clearly well thought of if he's going to be given a chance opening the batting. And he's only going to get better from this experience, playing with better players. I think he's got a good career for England ahead. And you pick out Sam Curran, and I counter that with my hero, the universe boss. I mean, what a man. I mean, Chris Gale, he's getting on in the age. He's had 7 innings and scored 288 runs. Yeah, with a 99, clean bowl by Joff.
Yeah, Jofra Archer, and gave him a little send up, gave him a little high five and a throw of his bat. I mean, yeah, there's no doubt Chris Gale. I mean, the famous double super over game where Chris Gale obviously came in the second super over and just sort of went, I've had enough of this, and just whacked it out of the ground. Showed his class. Obviously, he's 41 years old and he's still seeing it like a beach ball. I mean, the universe boss. He's an absolute performer. He's an entertainer and he's good for the game of cricket. I mean, he's box office, isn't he? And he's exactly what they need. Shane Watson is just ahead of him in the run score, and that was his final bow in cricket. For me, a bit of a prick, but a decent enough cricketer who's made the most of his ability. And I thought one thing we didn't see enough of was a few LBW reviews. I mean, something he'd probably go down for most famously in his career, as well as obviously opening the batting and bowling in a test match.
But I mean, Twitter, to be fair, has hammered Shane Watson. You actually look at his cricketing stats, and he's been a decent cricketer for Australia. But your testimonial of it must take one to know one, Harry, because I've heard you been explained that a few times around the Yorkshire circuit as well. So
absolutely, I mean, I'm not a very popular player. Most people
made the best of his talents.
Well, I wish I did that. Too many pork pies for me. But no, just to bring it close to the IPL, obviously, it was an interesting tournament. I thought Dubai hosted it well. The games at the start of the tournament were a lot more enjoyable than the end. I thought it's sort of the 200 scores at the start were sort of consistent, and not that runs are everything in cricket, but I just thought it had a bit of... it might have gone on too long. It might have been too long of a tournament. I just thought the interest sort of seemed to wane, especially from this country. But whether it's because the English players sort of all seem to disappear, might have been the case. But it's something that the IPL offers. It is that class. There's so many good players, and there are obviously a lot of young Indian lads who come through. And hopefully the 100 can learn a bit, take a bit from it. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how that goes. But the IPL is the premier competition, and it's the reason why it's the second most valuable league in the world per game in franchise sport. Stat for you all. I bet you didn't know that, did you, Harv?
Stat? No, I didn't, mate. But I knew it was worth a few quid. But no, the 100. I mean, how can anyone look forward to that when you've just watched IPL? I mean, that is how to do it.
Yeah, I think.
What on earth?
I think the weather.
The morons at the ECB.
Yeah, I think the weather. I mean, personally, I quite like the idea of the 100. I think it's going to be a positive for the game. I think it's something different. I mean, one thing I don't like is the people that are county cricket fans who are just, it's not my club, I'm not supporting this. I mean, we've got to try something different. People are scared of change. I mean, obviously, you've grown a goatee, a bit of a change. You've come across as David Brent for this evening's performance, which is nice to see. A few brain cells on him as well. But no, I think the 100 will be a success, to be honest with you. I think getting on terrestrial TV, you've got to think BBC turned up to the ECB and said, we need something that we can put on mainstream television, and they cut the 100. And for me, I think give it a chance. I like the draft. I like some of the ideas. I like the squads, the England players. I just think it could do with maybe a few more overseas, to be honest with you, because obviously the quality isn't there. But I'm looking forward to the 100. I think it's going to be a massive success, and there are buffoons like you who need to shut the trap and enjoy a bit of change.
Wow. I was going to say, you've obviously been eating the ECB shilling, mate. That's where all them pot pies have gone down. You've been taking the ECB shilling for the podcast. No, what a joke. I mean, why on earth do you need to change the game of cricket? They're marketing it, right? I remember reading it vividly and shaking my head. Right, they said they need to get more fans engaged and they want to attract an audience that people don't like cricket. Well, I'm sorry, cricket is a Marmite sport in this country. You're either going to watch it or you're not. Taking bowling 100 balls, taking the competition out of the game. How can that be a positive for the game?
It doesn't lose anything.
What you need to do is revamp the T20 format. There's
nothing lost from the game, though, because the T20
I'm not having it. I just think it's stupid.
I mean, you don't knock it till you tried it. I mean, everyone says you're supposed to try everything in life once. I mean, I know you've dabbled in a few things in your time, and it's just is what it is. I mean, you swing both ways, batting from the back. What's it saying? Bat for the other team and all that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're just going on an absolute ridiculous tangent because you're wrong. The 100 is one time only. The only people it's going to make rich are the overpaid overseas players. It's going to devalue the county T20 format, because what happens if it's a failure and then the Vitality Blast fails as well? And good night Vienna to all the county structures, because we can't have any fans.
Well, there's a lot of counties
what we're going to do
that are done, I think. I mean, I've lost interest in 18 county system. I mean, this is a conversation for another day. I mean, the IPL has been what it's been, and obviously Jofra Archer MVP, well played, son. The rest of them need to improve. But no, good night Vienna, as you just said.